So, if you've ever used a chatbot, you know the drill, right? You give it a prompt and it gives you an answer. But what if AI could go way beyond that? What if it could take your goal, actually create a plan, and then do things for you in the real world? Well, that's exactly what Agentic AI is all about. It's a huge leap forward, and it's happening right now. Let's break down how it all works.
To really wrap our heads around this, here's our plan. We're going to start by defining what makes this agent AI leap so significant. Then, we'll pop the hood and peek inside an agent's brain to see its core parts, figure out how it thinks, uncover its incredible superpowers, and finally, talk about how we can use these things safely out in the wild.
All right, first up, let's talk about this fundamental shift. And really, this isn't just a small upgrade. We're talking about a move from an AI that just answers our questions to an AI that actively goes out and gets stuff done for us. So here it is, the official definition. And the two words you really want to focus on here are autonomously and goals. This isn't about an AI following a super detailed set of instructions. Nope, this is about giving it an objective and having it figure out the steps to get there, all on its own.
And this right here really drives the point home. The AI we're used to is purely reactive. You give it an input, it gives you an output. End of story. Agentic AI, on the other hand, is proactive. It doesn't just respond, it plans, it uses tools to get things done, and, this is the really crucial part, it looks at the results and adapts its next move.
Let's make this super practical. Imagine you want to book a flight. If you ask a traditional AI, it'll probably give you a list of flights, which is helpful, sure, but you still have to do all the work. An AI agent takes that same goal and sees it all the way through to the end. It does the searching, the price comparison, the actual booking, and even sends you the confirmation. It completes the whole task from start to finish.
Okay, so how in the world does it actually do all of that? Let's get into the mechanics and look at the essential components that make an AI agent tick. At the very heart of any AI agent, you'll find these 5 building blocks. You can almost think of them like the agent's internal organs. You've got its senses, its brain, its memory, its hands, and finally, its ability to learn. All working together, they create this complete, functioning system.
First up is the perception module. Now, this is basically how the agent sees and hears the world. It's not just listening to your prompt, it's reading documents, it's getting data back from websites, it's understanding the entire context of its digital surroundings. These are its eyes and ears.
And if perception is the senses, then you can think of the action module as the agent's hands. This is what lets it actually do things, call a program, run a piece of code, send a message. This is the part that moves it from being a passive library of information into an active force that can make changes.
So, we've seen the parts. Now let's put them together and see how they work. This next bit is all about the agent's thinking process. And, this is where the real magic starts to happen. One of the most powerful ways an agent thinks is using a framework called REACT. It stands for reason and act. And it's this beautifully simple loop. The agent has a thought about what it needs to do. It then takes an action to find an answer. It observes the result of that action. And then, based on that new information, it has its next thought. It's this continuous cycle of thinking, doing, and learning. Here's a super simple example to make it click. The agent has a thought. I need to find out the population of Tokyo. It takes an action. It uses a search tool. Then it gets an observation. The result is about 14 million. Now it can take that fact and use it in its next step. It's simple, but it's an incredibly effective way to solve problems. Now, REACT isn't the only trick up the agent's sleeve. It has a whole toolbox of thinking strategies. For a really simple task, a straight-line, step-by-step chain of thought might be all it needs. For something really complex, a tree of thought can explore a bunch of different paths at once. But for any task that needs to interact with the outside world, REACT is usually the go-to strategy. Okay, this is where it gets really cool. Because what truly turns these agents into powerhouses are 2 key capabilities, or as I like to call them, they're superpowers, the ability to use tools and the ability to remember.
Tool use is an absolute game changer. It means the agent isn't stuck with just the knowledge it was trained on. It can connect to external websites, run programs, access live data. It's like giving a super intelligent brain access to the entire internet of apps and a workshop filled with every tool imaginable.
Let's go back to our AI travel agent for a second. With tool use, it's not just booking a flight anymore. It can call a weather tool to tell you what clothes to pack. It can use a currency converter tool to help you budget your spending. Every new tool makes the agent that much more powerful and useful. And the other superpower? Memory. Just like us, agents have different kinds of memory.
They've got short-term memory to keep track of the conversation we're having right now, and they've got long-term memory to store important facts for later. They even have what's called episodic memory, which helps them learn from what worked and what didn't in the past. It's this ability to remember and learn that helps an agent get better over time.
So we've got these incredibly powerful autonomous agents that can think, act, and learn. The final, and maybe the most important piece of this whole puzzle is this: how do we manage them safely when they're operating in the real world?
You know, the more freedom and power we give these systems, the more absolutely critical it is that we have guardrails in place. We have to make sure they operate safely and predictably. With great autonomy, there has to be great responsibility for security.
You can think of this as the absolute essential safety checklist. You need strong defenses against bad actors, you have to give the agent the least possible access it needs to do its job, and you need to run it in a safe, sandbox environment. And maybe most importantly, you always need to have human oversight, a human in the loop.
So, if you take just one thing away from our discussion today, let it be this: Agentic AI marks a huge shift. We are moving away from AI as a simple tool that just follows instructions to AI as a proactive partner that actually helps us achieve our goals.
And that leaves us with a final and pretty important question to think about. As these autonomous agents get smarter and smarter and take on more and more complex tasks for us, we constantly have to be asking ourselves, who is ultimately in control? How do we make sure we are always the ones in the driver's seat?